So peace and blessings for Kwabo, aka Show, every single Sunday from 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, bringing the best of ourselves, bringing love, bringing unity. So one thing first. So please, my brothers and sisters from all over the world, share this message. That's what it's about, because we are on all platforms. We're streaming on social networks such as Facebook, YouTube. We're on the Radio Diamond, DAB, Radio Diamond platform. So tune in, because it's about us coming together as a family. So share this message. It's going to be an amazing show. We're going to be having amazing guests here in the studio to break it down. The monarchy, the African monarchy system. Because we've been under attack for so long. Obviously, we understand they gave us the republic. They destroyed our monarchy in so many African countries. What is your thought about the republic system in Africa? Is that been working to benefit our own people, brother?
So there's the early stage and the middle, and there are 4 layers of the consciousness. So these people that was in power, they know and understand how to manipulate the early stages of man, because the early stage of man, it behave like animal, because there's animal stage. There's an animal in us that we cannot control. The animal is based on desire, wanting. We just don't really consider affect on someone else, all thinking about himself. Yes. So this animal aspect, you can control it using religion. You can use it benefit or financial, or education, making him think that's too much egoistic. So if you see now, when the Arab comes, they come and they left us a so-called Islamic religion. When the European, they come and they left us the so-called Christian religion. This religion by itself is not the problem, but once you are into this religion, you prioritize the religion before your people, because you are promised to go to heaven. So you plan in heaven, but you're not really living in this earth. So we devoted ourselves the earthly life. It's okay to be enslaved. It's okay to be working for someone else. It's okay to be under control. So because when you go into the heaven realm, you will be rewarded. This works in subconsciously affecting our people in a bad situation. So how come now, when you have a religion that you give it credit more than your life in earth, how come you don't consider about your monarchy? We don't really give credit to our monarchy, but the people who brought the monarchy to us, they still have their kings. Yes, they still have their queen, but they still the religion they use the religion to colonize our mind, but they still have their royalties. They're proud of the royalty. We live in England. The queen is more precious thing in their eyes, because they respect what she's doing for them. Exactly. You understand? But when you go to the African, they forget how the king was used to treat them. We can talk many things about our king, because when you go especially into East Africa, even the king is selected by people. It's not bloodline. People, they tell you it's a bloodline is when it's corrupted. But when in our history, when you go to Aksumite, it wasn't bloodline as such. Yeah, that's right. The purity of the priesthood, from the family of the priesthood, because of their knowledge, because of their understanding to nature, they select one of them. Even if you don't pass the test, it won't be a king or queen. There's a procedure to be king or queen. It's not like, because you're born into it, you become king or queen. Yeah. Because we forget who we are. Now we're thinking, we just remember the last kingdom that we have, the corrupted one, and then we blame now. So, if it's that case, we don't need it anymore. You understand? So it's so many layers into it. So we need to work and then investigate first.
Wow. Elder Mfundishi, same question to you. Yes. In your you heard, because this is a three-way show. So if you want to jump in, if you think you can jump in, the question to you, Elder, regarding the republic, do you think the republic has been really affected into emancipate our people worldwide? The republic system in Africa
already made good comments on it. Number one, the Europeans gave you the republican system because they can control that, and you're accountable to them if you want to do trade with them, if you want grants from them, if you want funds from them. So they can control your development, your economy is still under a neo-colonialism system. And they can almost handpick people that they want to come in and take their place. But when you have the monarchy, that's of the people. That's of the people, by the people. So like they said, it's not just a bloodline, but it's also, it represents the people. And see, the foreigners cannot dictate to the monarchs. Almost all the politicians in the republic are tied to a religion, just like you said. They're either Islamic or they're Muslims. Basically one of the two. They're either in Islam or they're in Christianity. Either way, they can be controlled and manipulated because they put their religion before they put their people. They put their religion before they put their culture. Now, that's extremely dangerous. Okay? So what happened is that also the monarchs control the land. The kings, well, I can't talk about all of Africa, but I know places like Ghana. The land is still in the hands and the control of the kings and the monarchs. Okay? And so they want to get rid of that so that they can just take the land, rape it like they're doing it, have the politicians sell it out to them, and then they can exploit it any way they want. But if the kings, the monarchs, are in control of that land, no, it has to represent the people. And the people need to benefit from that land. But when you have the republic, that's not the case. My brother worked in Saudi Arabia, and what happened in Saudi Arabia is that every Saudi Arabian citizen gets a check. They benefit from the oil that Saudi Arabia do. So there is no poor citizen of Saudi Arabia. Everyone gets a check every single month. Okay? Because they all benefit from that. Now, Ghana, Nigeria, they got oil. They got almost as much oil, in some cases more oil. Do the citizens of Ghana and Nigeria get a check? Are they taken care of because their country is receiving funds from their oil and their natural resources? Look at the gold in Ghana. The cities where gold is, there's the poor cities. There's no infrastructure there. The Chinese come in, they rape them, they take the stuff out, and the people don't benefit. They get a few little jobs, but I heard, we interviewed some people, and some people were making more money before they start working for the Chinese. They got undersold, so the monarchs is powerful, and they need to get rid of that because now they can control the so-called democratic system. They can control the republic system. They can't control the kings unless, it's hard to sell out. There's one or two kings that have sold out, but that's more difficult than controlling a monarch. So that's my view on that. They got to get rid of that so that they can totally strangle and choke Africa out.
Wow. Talking about Brother Daniel, obviously by you coming part of the by you coming from the royal family, because we understand even amongst our monarchy, we have to go back to our ancient monarchy because some of our monarchy as well, the West can step in. So what is your thought about our ancient monarchy, our way of, because we built the civilization. So what is your thought about our ancient monarchy? Because we have to really go back to our ancient way of doing things. What is your thought about it?
Well, we're in the 21st century, and sometimes I don't advise to go back to do the way the kings used to do things because it might prove a bit difficult to go in the current system. But all my advice would be that in the current society which we are in, the politicians should be looking after the monarchs because that's the problem. Even from where I come from, that's where the problem lies. They don't look after the monarch. They just go there and deceive them and say, oh, this is what it is. They give them some monies and then they allow political powers to rule over everything. That's the reason why the West will have so much influence and all the Arabs will have so much influence over the land, over people and stuff. And most of these African politicians are so corrupt and they only think about themselves. They don't think about people, how to develop maybe strategies that would ensure government would train people and upskill them in and give them jobs and all of this stuff. So this is one of the key issues you would be facing. What I believe we should have is that at least if the monarch is the ceremonial head and is being looked upon and is being honored by all politicians, and it's been listened to by the politicians. Because, and also remember, most of these African monarchs are not well educated.
Wow. So that leads me to the question. Yeah, go ahead. We listen to it. Go ahead.
Just as a Kemetic high priest and part of a royal type of family, let me explain how we run it. And I think this is how this might be a prototype. In ancient Kemet, you had the king, you had the absolute monarch, but the monarch had a council of elders. So the idea is have the most esteemed elders there. So everybody's just not going to be ignorant and not well educated. You have a council of experts, and you have experts in every field. They have to be around that king. So you have a council of elders, a council of experts, and then you have what we call the council of royal scribes. That are the people that put you in touch with who these experts are. And then you have your educational system, because the media has to be able to attach the common people to the experts who are attached to the institutions, who are attached to the monarchs or the kings and the elders. And the elders are attached to the ancestors, the sacred ancestors that set up the civilization, that set up the foundation. So you want to make sure you have images of them. Their pictures are there. The young people know who these sacred ancestors are. The elders' job is to promote this and to keep this in line in the best interest, always keeping up with the particular times. And that's why you have the experts in every field. Experts in development, experts in economic, experts in education. They all sit at the feet of the monarch. So therefore, you're not worried about somebody not being well educated and not giving good decisions. So that's my little piece.
Right. Just 1 second, brother Sam. That leads to spirituality as well, because you are a very spiritual brother. Because power, you can't ask people to get you. You take power. You don't ask people for power, because we understand most of these politicians, they won't give up. So what is your thought about the spiritual side of it? Because we also need to understand, because power rely to spirit. So what is your thought about the spiritual side?
The thing is, in African spirituality and the monarchy system, where if you see the ancient time, they used to have an initiation system where every culture have its own initiation system, like where they cultivate this king to be a king and the queen to be a queen. So there's a process. But even like, for example, in East Africa, where I'm from, we call it Ethiopia, Eritrea, Sudan, Somal, the East African, even Tanzania. Before they used to have this system where, especially in our tribe or our people, the whole Ethiopia and Eritrea, and they have this system where if you're gonna get married, you have to go 7 generations back before you get married to someone. That means even a king is not gonna get married to his daughter or to his son or to this thing that they have, like they restrict it among themselves. That's when we start falling. We're more likely to talk about the West do this, the West do that, but our own people, when they break the golden rule of our people, where you have to go to marry to someone, even if you are royalty, you have to go 7 generations. You don't have to be related to you to marry him. The reason for that, they have their own reason to, people have to stretch, and then everybody is family. So once you are connected to all the people, there's no way that you want to be against your people. But once you become a royal family, you create family where you married among one another, and then you don't bring people from outside into this kingdom or kingship. Then that's what the problem start.
Brother Mfundishi, you heard what the brother said, right?
I kind of said, he's saying, how do we get them back into position of power?
Okay, now the question we're asking you is about spirituality, because power relies on the spiritual side as well, because it ain't just about the physical, it's about to understand the spiritual side. And then you've been one of the promoter of our spirituality in New York and all over the world as well. Help us to understand, how can we regain our power, our monarchy, through the spiritual side?
Well, I mean, the key we know is spirituality. We had something called the 42 Oracles of Ma'at, Laws of Ma'at. I think being in touch with nature, see, spirituality, you understand, we teach, what I teach here is that we have to understand spirit from all different levels. So we have the mineral domain, we have the plant domain, the animal domain, the human domain, and spirituality permeates all of them. We are so ignorant in most of these areas. At one time, we were really in tune with nature. We were the herbalists. We understood the plant domains. Now we think the pharmacist is the solution. At one time, we were in touch with the animals. And so we had zoomorphic images in each of the clans because we understood the power that certain animals had. Not that we were worshiping animals. We understood the power, and that power can be used within us. Who's learning that today? Children. I mean, are the schools teaching anything like that? Absolutely not. The mineral domain, we all are made up of stardust. Do we understand that? Do we understand the mineral domain? Our foreigners do. That's why they're coming in and reaping our minerals, and we giving it away. And so I think our total spirituality in this case has to coincide with a total revamp of the educational system. I stand to be corrected, but almost every place on the African continent, there is a colonial educational system. In Ghana, they know more about Great Britain than they knew about their elders, about their monarchy, about things that are going on in the ancient times. If I mention Tanzania, where I come from in Ghana, they almost don't even know anything about their neighboring African country. And so it is important. Spirituality is not going to work with terms of ignorance. If you have just ignorant people, then we have what we call symbolic thought as opposed to symptomatic thought. Symptomatic thought means I concretely understand what I'm talking about, and I know what that symbol represents because I'm part of it. Symbolic is like what religion is. Religion says, just do this. I don't have to prove it. Just take my word for it or you're going to hell. So symbolic thought has dominated Africa right now. And this is why we can't do business with each other, because symbolically we have been taught not to trust each other. Think of that. You don't trust each other, but you trust your former enslaver. You think he's going to give you a good deal, but you don't want to do trade with your African brother. That's symbolic thinking. So spirituality will not work if we continue to just think symbolically. We have to think symptomatically, and then that goes back to how we begin to educate our children. We need to take total control. That's why in Ghana we're building a whole new school complex, a healing complex. These things are essential, and culture has to be attached to your spirituality. And culture is how you relate to nature. And we have become Afropeans, no matter where we are. So we have to relinquish most of the things we've learned from Europeans, reevaluate them, relearn them. How can our science and technology tap into nature? How do we make nature better? So spirituality is that connection. So I'm coming from probably a different perspective, but hopefully you'll at least understand me.
No, totally agree. So talk to you, Brother Sam, because you recently just been in the continent, talking about the education, because we, no matter what it is, we're still running through the worldwide curriculum system. In Africa, all over the world, we're still running through this worldwide curriculum system. We give our children to the Western system of education. They teach them their kings, their queens, but we don't have our own. So, what is your thought? The system, the one of the key thing is the children. Educate our children, but we're still giving our children. So the Arab, they don't give their children to the West. The Chinese, they don't give their children to the West. Even the Jews, but we keep giving our children. We keep giving ourselves to the worldwide curriculum system. What is your thought about that, brother?
The problem we have in the continent, we know more about the European than we know about ourselves. The main reason that I am in this search and then doing this spirituality and then doing my research is because once I used to be in a barber shop that I used to cut them. Brothers, they come from the continent, and then when they come from the continent, we have this we talk, when I ask them questions and ask them what's your history, and then when they say when did the history start, So more likely, they say to me, the guys from Nigeria, Ghana, different parts of Africa, there are more people to come to England to study. And they say their history start from slavery. Not all of them, but most of them, they say this the history. And they doing master degree, and they keep telling you the history start from slavery. And then you say, you're doing master and you don't know your history before the colonization? That hits my heart, you know. And I say, that's not true. Even though I don't go through the education system, but in my ancestors, they tell us about our history. At least they tell us about the Bahar Negash, 15th century. And then they talk about the Abyssinian kingdom. We know about Aksum kingdom. And then what is it that your kingdom? And they say, they don't know. But if you tell them that about World War the First, World War the Second, they can tell you everything in details. So that make me thinking, you know, our education system is under attack, our spiritual system is under attack, our financial system is under attack, our every resources that we can think, even politics, you know. So the main thing is we have to. They have this.
Then the question is that's why we still making the same mistake and not teaching our children our kings and queens.
We are in the circle. Yeah, we are in the circle of doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. So the only way that we have to break free is we have to know our ancient initiation system, the so-called tree of life. Once people understand the tree of life, then you will elevate yourself without even, you don't need a guru. Once you understand the tree of life, you work with your inner self from zero to the top. And then you have 11 or 12 layers of this tree of life. They will tell you exactly, they break down exactly how you behaving at any given time. That's how we break yourself out from this madness that we are put ourselves into. And we don't blame nobody but ourselves. Once we get responsible for what we fall. Then no one make you fall. We fail because we lack understanding of our teaching of our ancestors. Now it's coming back, like you say, it's a Sankufa time. There's an information time. You have technology that can help you to raise your consciousness. You need, now like, you know, the iPhone that we're using right now, in 1960, only the president have access to the information that I have in this phone. Now everyone have it in his hand. You can search any information that you need right in your hand. Were you using it? No, you posting pictures.
Listen, in Europe, soon as they go to school, they hail the Queen. You know what I'm saying? So that's permeated. No matter what their religion is, that's permeated in their educational system and everything they do. In Africa, we don't do that. But we want to have respect for the kings and queens. And so we need to take control. And once we come up with that curriculum, we understand that tree of life, we understand those powerful domains of nature, then that needs to be spread throughout the African continent so that we're all on the same page. So just like we're having this meeting, the African Union need to be pushing this in all of the countries. But now, I'd like to pose this one question, and I'd like to get some comment on it. I think our concept of Pan-Africanism has to be revamped. So I'd please like to have some comments from these people. Because as long as we have our enemy in the African Union, as long as we have people who don't have our best interests as black people in the African Union, how can we take care of business? Or how can that organization even be valuable? So I'd please like to have some comment.
Now we're going to go straight to Jamaica. So tell us who you are, my brother, and what you're doing for the family.
Blessings to you, Brother Alpha. This is Ras Ho-Shing, Paulus. I've been into the fullness of our works from reparation to the whole repatriation movement. We represent the African Union. We've been doing that from 2003, 2004. In fact, it was through our works of the great elders of the Rastafarian philosophy and teaching that brought the recognition of the sixth region, the African diaspora, which up until then, the African Union only had 5 regions for the continental development. So I'm Ras Ho-Shing, my brother, and I will always say in the presence of the Almighty, the great order of divinity, the great creator of heaven and earth, my beloved, blessings to our people, both at home and abroad, in the name of Iesus Christos. As an Ethiopian, my brother, that is our economical revelation, that is our spirituality that declares itself to the great priests and prophets and apostles of our great faith of Ethiopia. So blessing, Brother Alpha.
Wow, really quick, going straight to the point. I can hear probably feedback, maybe from Brother Malik. I don't know. No. Okay, I think it's from Brother Ho-Shing. So, a question to you, my brother, really quick, because yeah, I can definitely hear feedback. I don't know where it's come from, but anyway, our African monarchy has been under attack by the Chinese, by the European, and by the Arab. Do you agree with this statement, or do you don't agree with this statement, my brother? And then especially hold on, and especially yourself, coming from the land of Marcus Garvey, being Ethiopian, the land that's never been colonized, the land of the great El Selassie. Tell us about this topic really quick.
Well, as you know, my beloved, Ethiopia, Upper Kemet, as what it was in the beginning, and many names was called of Up Eden, the valley, the cradle of civilization, the cradle of all reality, faculty of thought, the first economical revelation of the deity of creation. All of this is Ethiopian, as you said. We've never been conquered, so we've never lost. We've never been subjugated, and we've never lost our anciency, which has been brought in the 21st century. So the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo has been the preservation of our spirituality that has guarded Ethiopia from beginning right to the time that we're now in. And we have a sovereign reality because we are the ancient kingdom that goes through the whole civilization of Africa. You'll find that the whole of the continent is Ethiopia. It is our empire. So therefore, when we speak of those who came in from 7,000 years ago, the Arabians that now has taken over Northeast Africa and the old trade route from the Sahara and the Red Sea, we know all the invaders that came in and renamed the continent to suit their own conquest, as it was done by the Europeans in the 1600 when they chopped it up and called it Africa with all these different states, my brother.
So help us to understand the role of African Union, and why are you then engaging the Caribbean with the Africans? What is your main motive behind them, Brother Ho-Shing?
My beloved brothers, we must first, as Ethiopian, the burnt-faced people, the great civilization, we need to come to the understanding that Africa, mother of all humanity. There's many that looks like we, but they were not fathered by the African father. So you cannot expect that to happen all over our people. What is happening? Our reality is an incarnated reality. And what is happening today, the continent is coming together. And the OAU, the Organization of African Unity, that brought the seed and sowed the seed of that reality. The African Union, which is still headquarters is in Addis Ababa, is our central unification of the African nation. And what our people must understand, Africa, the liberation of it, is we claim it. And if you claim your ancient reality, ancestry as Ethiopian, you're going back to your sovereign, that sovereign reality that ruled the great civilization. So what we're talking about, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Everything that we speak of and everything that we aspire of the unity of Africa, it is already being discussed. We've already done so many things. What is now happening is that physical action, which is a spiritual connected force. That is why we here with the African Union and the Caribbean, and what is happening with Paul Bogle on the 24th of October, we are now gathering all our people, lighting a fire, lighting the candle in remembrance of all the atrocity, not just the Europeans, but all the way from the Sahara, the Red Sea, right across to the Grecian and the Roman, right across the millions of our people that were slaughtered for possession of our land and to control the resources of Mother Africa. So that, my brother, you're talking about a spirituality that is greater than the Chinese civilization or any concept of reality that has come into man in the 21st century. The spirituality of the great African is an incarnated one, and there is time that you will see the rising of it, which is now happening throughout the African continent. And that's where we are, my friend. All we now need to do is to know who you are. You are all Ethiopian. You belong to the greatest empire. You belong to a nation of people that brought the greatest knowledge to civilization and creation from India, China, all the way to the West. So we know the history and we know the time that was given to all of humanity. And we are now in that time when the great African leaders, the incarnated men and women, we are now taking back our land, our possession, and there's no other nation can stop we, because we are the one that civilized all other nations, including the Chinaman.
Wow. Brother Ho-Shing, we definitely need to have you again because you got so many information to share with our family. A message to the worldwide, to the African family worldwide. Because I know you've been going back and forth between Jamaica and Ethiopia to build, and you are part of the major organization to unite the brothers and sisters in Caribbean and in the African continent. So, what is your message to the African family worldwide in 2 minutes?
Our message to the African family worldwide, that within you, yourself, the great art of divinity, the great creator of heaven and earth and everything that you see is within all of you. And once you connect with that reality, my brother, that spirituality that can never be destroyed by any weapons of man, that is where we are today. This is why the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo has declared to the government of Jamaica liberation for repatriation, because without a spiritual faculty, we can never unite our people. Well, our spiritual revelation, I'm asking the black people, look to Ethiopia, Abyssinia, Upper Kemet, because we've never been conquered and we've been there from beginning of all civilization. And right now, Ethiopia economy is the most powerful economy, and you can see what the Prime Minister of Ethiopia has recently done since he came into power. The head of Africa is Ethiopic, was never conquered. The rest of the body was conquered by the Arabians that became Muslim, and the rest were conquered by the Grecian and the Roman and the European under this Christian version. But we have maintained the true spirituality of the great African nation that has revealed itself through Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo. So I would say to my black brothers and sisters, look to Ethiopia, the head fountain of creation. As it was there in the beginning, so it is here with us in the 21st century. Our spirituality.
Wow. As you hear it, that's what it is. That's Marcus Garvey talking. Because brother came off the land of Marcus Garvey. That's exactly what it is. Bring the information right to you, into your heart, just so you can feel it. Because we're not here, we love ourselves. And don't be intimidated about it, my brother. We just love ourselves. We make you understand, just because we love ourselves don't mean we hate anybody. Yeah, really quick, my brother.
Thank you for this occasion, and I would like to remind our African people, out of Upper Kemet, Upper Mount Zion, came the revelation that created the Kush kingdom that brought knowledge to all man. We don't hate no one. That is why everyone, every nation became from a tribal and became civilization, including the Chinese, the Indians, the Europeans. You can name all of them, my beloved brother. Their knowledge came from we, without apology. And we don't need to be overexcited. All we need to do is to know thyself and who you are as an African Ethiopian. Know yourself, man and woman, and you'll know the great kingdom of Holy Mount Zion, which is incarnated in your blood. You don't need to know history to know your story, because all is in your blood, your DNA.
Just a last word for 1 minute. A message to the family worldwide. A message to we definitely have to embrace our monarchy. A 1 minute message to the family worldwide. Elder Mfundishi, and it's such a pleasure to have you. We're definitely going to have you again to break it down spirituality, because I know you've been enlightening our brothers and sisters in New York and all over the world. A quick message to the family worldwide.
I'm taking people to the Metropolitan Museum, to the African wing and the Egyptian wing, again, to do the educational part. And so everything we're talking about here, I'm actually going to be portraying to about 50 or 60 people here in New York. And we have to continue. Pan-Africanism or perish was the words of one of my teachers, Dr. John Henry Clark. He said, we had no friends in the world. Our only friends is ourselves. We're the third largest population on the planet. We can solve all our problems. We have the majority of the world's resources. You can't even talk about technology unless you're talking about Africa. We have to begin to control that. We got to control the land, change the thinking. Remember, we're thinking symbolically. We have to get people to think symptomatically so they can take control of their lives. I'd like to say Asante Sana. Thank you very much. Hailing from New York, from Harlem right now. And I'd like to say peace and out.
You know, the secret of our show is to really connect our brothers and sisters from all over the world. So when you step in this platform, you got to make sure you step into the world. And then we ask questions. So we just left New York with Brother Mfundishi, one of our powerful elder. He's one of our powerful elders. Because, come on, he's been around with Professor Smalls, Professor John Eric Clark. We got to send a shout out to Brother Mfundishi. Until today, still doing the work. Our elder still doing the work. Not only in New York, but all over the world. So we left New York. Now we are in Washington, D.C. with one of our powerful Brother Malik. Tell us who you are. Introduce yourself to the family, my brother, real quick.
A good, what is still morning, good afternoon. Good morning around the world to all my brothers and sisters. Know that I love y'all to life and the life y'all living. I'm an ANC member, commissioner of AB06 in Ward 8, Washington, D.C. I'm also an activist, a spiritualist, and I love my people on the level of culture and spirituality. I'm a revolutionary, and my perception is that we're at war with the genome primate in the Cabo states. That's England, London, the Vatican, and over here in the United Snakes of hypocrisy. And all this democracy that they talk about, and make mockery of us because it's about hypocrisy. And our connection from here to the motherland have to be based on unification. That's the only way we're going to build a worldwide nation of black melanated people of a righteous divine aspiration on the pathway of our ancestors. We have to deal with spirituality, culture, and our ancestors in order to overcome the misconception and the lies and the manipulation of our natural enemy. The genome primate is our natural enemy. That's the way we got to look at it.
Brother, really quick, because we got a special guest here in the studio as well. Yes, our brother from the Kingdom of Nigeria, that's what we say, and then our brother from the Kingdom of Eritrea, that's what it is, because we got different kingdoms. Because remember, we are part of the royal family. So I know you like to give lectures, but we got to keep sure. So really quick, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Our monarchy systems being under attack by the Chinese, by the European, and by the Arabs. So do you agree with this statement, or you don't agree with it? Really quick, my brother.
That statement that we are being attacked by them, by those three ethnic groups, but how? Why? How are we allowing this? Because we're not unifying. We separate. If we practice the religions divide and conquer us. We got Islam, Christianity, and all that in Africa and here too. But we allowing other people to come in there and take the land. And just like before they got there, the other people that colonized the land, just like when Mandela came out of South Africa, became the president of the country. But who controlled the wealth? You know, being a political, I ain't gonna say puppet, but with a colonized mentality, and you allow the other people to control the wealth of the land. That's, you know, you being your own enemy. We can't do that. We got to come from off that mentality of, you know, I'm greater than you, and I and you, the big I and the little you, and we got to unify. The Chinese, the Japanese, the Arabs, and everybody, European countries is in Africa, taking Africa away from us. And today in 2019, they got slavery in Libya. What is happening about that? Where's the revolutionary movement? When Gaddafi was there, it wasn't no slavery like it is now for body parts and sex rings and all that. It's a business that's operated by the Carvel states of England and the Vatican and all them. And we not doing nothing about it. We should be held accountable for that. It's a shame and it's an embarrassment to be a black man on this planet in this day and time.
Brother, it was such a pleasure to have you here. We definitely going to need you again. A message, a strong message, because we leave the last word to you before we close our show. Brother Sam, a message to the family worldwide. It is about, we understand now, our monarchy is being attacked by everybody. So, based on what our brothers talk, that we've been attacked by all the groups, Chinese groups, European groups, Arab groups will be under attack. So a last message, 2 minutes last message to everybody around the world, my brother, especially our black family.
I believe in cleansing. You understand? Before you cleanse yourself, you can't do anything. And then to cleanse yourself, you have to start from your physical body to emotional body, your electric body, your electromagnetic body, your vibrational body, your visual body, and your crown. This is where the structure that our ancestors they used to initiate. So this is based on some of that I am having in my book. Book is maybe coming at the end of this year or next year. When I have my book done, I will talk about it. But there's a technique that I put in my book, how to use food for your own benefit, the right food. How do you filter your water? How do you to drink water? How to breathe? How to breathe and bring fire? How to exercise? Do some Tai Chi or yogi, or why do you do what you do? And then what kind of idea do I have in your heart? Like, do you have the laws of Ma'at in your heart? Do you know the laws of Ma'at by your heart? The 42 laws of Ma'at. How do you talk? Which you vibration. Our words, they vibrate. So how do we talk? How do you use our word? Do we use the right word? How do you see things in your temple? In your temple is in your pineal gland. What is it, the gland? Is it locked up? Can you visualize what you need? Are you connected with the Creator when it goes to the crown? So this is the layers, the 7 layers of our body. That body have to be cleansed, have to be looked after, how to rise this body. So you will have the best out of this nature. We live in a time, the wonderful life, the wonderful time. This time of technology, time of spirituality, time of information, time of knowledge. Are we going to waste this? Do you know how many of our ancestors, they've been crying for this time that we live in right now?
Wow.
So as African brothers, I beg you to do all that is necessary to free yourself, and you can free your family, your friends, your loved ones, your countrymen, the world. We are going to have to save the world. The world is going to destruction. Not the world, but the people who live in the world. We don't have the power to destroy the world, but we can destroy the people who live, or the animals, the plant within the world. So make sure that if you free yourself before it goes to more destruction. That's all, and all the best.
Wow. So same question to Brother Daniel. A last message to the 2 minutes last message to the family worldwide, because our guest, our listeners, our viewers on social, because we're streaming all over social network, Facebook, I can't even count. So I'm sure they felt your message. What is your message to the entire family worldwide? 2 minutes, my brother.
Like I did say, one, we need to dialogue to establish connections between ourselves, and also the government and people have to create what we have to create fairness between economic goals, and also we have to create values of tolerance between different cultures and cultural groups. We have to engage between ourselves, in developing a society that is right for all. And also, I also asked to plead with the government to implement strategies that ensure that they train and upskill these young people to understand that they have come from the motherland of Africa. So we need community centers that reflect our own identity, which is black people. And we need to build these community centers whereby it attracts young people and to come in and contribute to society. And I ask all to be loving to each other, share and care for one another in times of need, and just be there for everyone. Yeah.
Wow. It's as you can see, brothers and sisters from all over the world. So please help us to support this station, because this station is a black-owned station. It's one of the very few black-owned stations in the UK that we can reach out the world on the respectful manner. It's not about hating nobody. That's why even some British brothers and sisters, they actually love what we're doing. They say, you know what, Alpha, we love you, man, because at the end of the day, you're also doing this to educate our ignorant brothers and sisters to have a better understanding of your struggle. That's why I can call them I call them a counterpart. Our counterpart, UK Europeans, we need to start really reach out to them to educate them, to reactivate their mind, because a lot of them they have that mindset of, okay, we above the black people, we on top of the black people, because they have to be re-educated in order for them to understand we are the original people on this earth, and the African people are the fathers and the mother of this place that we call earth. So